Hey everybody, welcome to Vance Tried It. Today I'm going to be trying a really simple recipe that I found off of Facebook on Grandma's Old Recipes. I'll put a link down in the description so you can check out that Facebook video and that Facebook channel if you would like. And I'm going to be just making a meatloaf with stovetop stuffing as the binder. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on these gloves. So whenever I am working with ground beef and I'm trying to incorporate things into it, I'm making meatballs or meatloaf, or even if I'm just making some hamburger patties, I'll use these food grade gloves. And I'm not so worried about just getting my hands dirty with the meat, but I really don't like getting the meat underneath my fingernails because I think that's way harder to clean out and you just run a lot bigger risk of leaving stuff in there and getting some bacteria built up and stuff like that. So I'm going to I have 2 pounds of hamburger. It's 90% lean. A lot of times I'll use 85% lean, especially if I'm making just hamburgers or something. But if I'm making meatloaf, I'll go with a little bit leaner, so 90. I might even go with a 95. Probably not though. 90 usually does the trick. I'm going to put just a package of stovetop stuffing in there. I'm using savory herbs, but really you can use whatever flavor you want. So that's the binder. You know, a lot of times with this, you're going to use maybe some panko breadcrumbs, maybe you're going to use just bread, crackers. I've used grits even in making meatloaf, and that was interesting. I took that meatloaf to a church potluck, and people were like, you know, this is really good, but what in the world is in it? Because this does not have the same texture as meatloaf that I am used to eating. And so there are a lot of binders that you can use. And the nice thing about using the stovetop stuffing, I think, is going to be that it comes with its own seasoning. So we don't have to worry about putting any salt, pepper, any sort of herbs or spices in there because that seasoning is all in the stuffing. And you could probably just hear my oven just got up to temperature. So I have preset it for 375. And so, you know, part of the trick with making anything with hamburger is if you overwork the hamburger, it's gonna kind of be tough. And so just incorporate the stuff in there and then just be done. So I'm going to take it. I've just incorporated it in there. And now I'm going to just make a nice little loaf. Now, you can make it square, rectangular, oval, round, triangle. I mean, you can make it whatever shape you would like, although the traditional shape is going to be kind of rectangular, kind of like a loaf pan would be. And then what I usually do is I'll usually take and I'll put a ridge down the middle. Just I think it looks nice for your meatloaf to have that little ridge on it. Makes it look like a loaf. And we're just going to put this in our baking pan. And then I'm going to get ready to make a glaze to go on top of here. And once I get all the ingredients ready to mix together, we'll come back and get that done. Okay, so the glaze that they put on their meatloaf in the Facebook site was really simple, and they didn't even measure anything out. They just said put some in there and make it look like you want it. So it just starts with some ketchup. I don't know, I probably put about 4 tablespoons of ketchup in there. And then it says to put in some brown sugar. So we'll put in some brown sugar. I don't know, that was probably a tablespoon and a half, maybe, of brown sugar. And then just get it mixed up. And really, you're just kind of wanting to break up all of the clumps of brown sugar here. And if you get all the clumps of brown sugar broken up, you can be pretty sure that you are mixed up just fine in here. And to break them up, I usually just use the back of the spoon, push it up against the bowl, and it just breaks up. Because I keep my brown sugar in an airtight container, because really what you don't want is you don't want the moisture to get in with your brown sugar. That's what gets really hard clumps in your brown sugar. So if you can keep the moisture out of there, then it'll clump out a little bit just because it sticks together pretty well. But it will break apart really well when you push against it. So that's what we're going to do. And we're just have now, instead of a bright red from the ketchup, we kind of have a dark red. Looks kind of like a barbecue sauce. You can put some other stuff in here too, some Worcester. You could put some chili sauce in here instead of ketchup. You could just use barbecue sauce on here if you wanted to, but this is what they said they did, so this is kind of what I wanted to do. Just stick with it as much as I could. Just going to put a good covering on here. I'll just use all I have because I don't have anything else to do with it, so might as well put it on here. Just like that. And now what I'm going to do before I put this in the oven, I have up here in my cabinet, I keep this little bad boy right here. It is a remote cooking thermometer, and you really should have one of these cooking thermometers. And it's really simple. You just take the probe, you put it into your meat, just like that. Of course, this is ground beef, so it slides in really easy. And then you turn it on. The switch on this one is on the back, and it's going to tell you exactly what the temperature is. This is 59 degrees right now. And so what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to get it up to 160 degrees. That's going to make it safe to eat. That's kind of like on the edge of well done. And so instead of trying to guess how long it's going to take, it probably will take somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour to cook. But this is going to tell me when it gets to the temperature that I want, regardless of how much time it takes. So that's why I like to use one of these. And so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a link down in the description to some cooking thermometers that you could buy on Amazon. And if you buy those off of Amazon through the link that I put down there, then I'll just get a little bit. You can just support the channel. So that'd be really good. But if you need one, I'm going to put my recommendations down below. And hey, while you're down there, would you please push the like button, comment, subscribe, even share this video so even more people can see these videos. It sure would help us out an awful lot. So I'm going to go ahead and get this in the oven. And you can see the cord for this just goes right out the oven door. We're just going to put this on here and we're going to keep going. This one is remote, and so this is the other end of it, and I can turn this on and I can set it to the temperature I want it so that it will actually start beeping when it gets to that temperature. Alright, so we're going to come back when this gets to 160 degrees, and we're going to come back, we're going to cut it up, and we're going to see how it tastes. Okay, we are back, and our meatloaf is up to temperature. It's at just a little over 160 degrees. So I'm going to put on these mitts, and I'm going to take it out of the oven. Oh yeah, it's hot. And it smells delicious. So there it is right there. I'm going to take the probe out just like that. I'll give you a little look, see? That's what it looks like. Yeah. Smells good, looks good. Now we're just going to have to see how it tastes. Just get a little bite off of here. That nice simple glaze actually is just right. You know, I was thinking, maybe I should put some Worcester, some stuff like that in there, but man, the simplicity of it with just the ketchup and the brown sugar is just wonderful. It makes this nice little crisp glaze on there. And then the actual meatloaf itself has that flavor. I've always been a fan of stovetop stuffing, and you get that flavor in there. You get some of the crunch within there. The stovetop stuffing is still a little bit crunchy. It's not uncooked. It just has this firmness and this just a little bit of crunch to it, and the flavors of the savory seasoning just comes together. I'm telling you, this is a really good meatloaf and super simple to make. Hey, I tried it. You should too.